Let's be honest. We all think about our financial future, but figuring out how to get there can feel, well, pretty complicated. So what does a modern financial advisory firm actually do? Today, we're going to break down how a real next-generation financial strategy gets built, piece by piece, using Alpha Innovation Partners as our guide.
All right, so here's our game plan. We'll start with why finance feels so complex these days. Then we'll figure out who really needs a plan. After that, we're going to open up the financial toolkit, talk about a super important promise every advisor should make, and then show you how to connect the dots. Sound good? Let's jump in.
First things first, let's just admit it. Our financial lives are way more complicated than they used to be, right? We're trying to juggle retirement accounts, insurance, investments, maybe saving for our kids' college. It can seriously feel like trying to put together a giant puzzle when you don't even have the picture on the box to look at. So, let me just ask you this straight up. When you think about your financial future, what's that feeling in your gut? Is it calm, cool, and collected? Or is it more of a knot of anxiety? You know, if you're feeling that knot, you are definitely not alone. And that's exactly what a good financial plan is designed to do, to untangle that knot. Okay, so who are the people who really need to sit down and make a plan? While pretty much everyone can benefit, there are some key groups out there facing really specific, high-stakes financial questions. Let's take a look at who they are. First up, imagine you're just a handful of years away from retirement. The finish line is so close. For your entire career, the name of the game was growth. How much can I save? But now, all of a sudden, the question flips. It's not about growth anymore. It's about how do I make this nest egg last and pay me a reliable check for the next 20 or 30 years? That is a huge mental shift, and it requires a completely different strategy.
And then, of course, there are the parents. You're living this constant stressful balancing act, aren't you? How do I save for my kids' education without totally derailing my own retirement? It can feel like you have to choose one or the other. But a smart plan isn't about choosing, it's about building a strategy where you can actually work towards both of those massive goals at the same time.
And finally, we've got business owners. For them, there's no clear line between their personal finances and their business finances. It's all intertwined. Every single decision, whether it's about employee benefits or how they're going to exit the company one day, has these massive tax and personal wealth implications. It's like they're trying to steer two ships at once, and they need a navigator who gets both. So, now that we know the problems people are facing, let's get to the good part, the solution. How does a firm actually help? Well, think of it like a professional's toolkit, with a specific, specialized tool for every single job. Let's open it up and see what we've got.
The first, and you could argue, the most important tool in the box is retirement planning. This is all about building the engine that's going to power your financial independence for the long haul, whether you're a freelancer, a teacher, or a business owner.
Now, what's cool about this is that it shows you retirement planning isn't just a one-size-fits-all thing. There are specific tools for different jobs. A solo 401k, that's a total game changer for someone who's self-employed. A 403b is built for people in education or nonprofits. And things like profit-sharing plans, those are powerful options for business owners. It's all about finding the most efficient engine for your specific situation.
All right, let's grab the next tool. This one isn't about growing your money. It's about protecting it. Insurance planning is basically your financial safety net. It's there to protect you, your family, and everything you've built from those unexpected curveballs that life loves to throw at us.
And here's what that safety net is made of. You've got the basics, right? Life insurance to protect your family, disability insurance to protect your paycheck. But it also includes things like long-term care to make sure a health crisis doesn't wipe out your savings, and annuities, which are a way to create your own personal pension, a guaranteed income stream that you literally can't outlive.
Okay, on to tool number 3, money management. So you've got a plan, you've got your safety net in place, now it's time to put your money to work. This is the hands-on process of managing your investments to help them grow over the long run.
And you can see there are a couple of levels to this. On one hand, you've got the nuts and bolts, the brokerage services that give you access to the markets. But then there's a higher level, specialized wealth management. This goes way beyond just picking stocks. It's about designing a financial architecture that can support a family's goals and even their values for generations to come.
Next up, we have something called advanced planning. Okay, these are the really specialized instruments in the toolkit. They're for people with unique situations, usually involving some pretty complex tax, state, or charitable giving goals.
I know, this slide looks like a bunch of confusing jargon, so let's just cut through it. Think of these as precision tools. For instance, a charitable remainder trust is a way you can give a big gift to a cause you love, but also get an income and some nice tax benefits. Cost segregation helps real estate investors lower their tax bill. The point isn't to memorize these. The point is to know that for almost any complex financial puzzle, a special tool exists to solve.
And that brings us full circle, back to the unique world of the business owner. They get their own dedicated set of tools because business planning is all about protecting the health and the future of the company itself.
This part of the toolkit is really all about answering the what-if questions. What if my best employee gets a better offer? That's where retention plans come in. What if something happens to my business partner? That's what key person insurance is for. What if we decide to part ways? A buy-sell agreement creates a clear roadmap. It's all about taking the uncertainty out of the equation so the business can keep going no matter what.
Okay, we have seen a lot of tools, but there's one more thing we need to talk about. And honestly, it might be the most important part of this whole conversation. It's an idea that underpins the entire relationship with your advisor. It's called the fiduciary promise.
So what on earth does fiduciary mean? The simplest way to think about it is like a doctor's Hippocratic oath, but for your money. It is a legal requirement for an advisor to act in your best interest. Period. It means their advice has to be what's best for you, not what makes them the biggest commission. It puts you and your advisor on the exact same side of the table working toward the same goals.
And this quote from Alpha Innovation Partners just says it all. That word, solely, is so incredibly important. It's not mostly in your best interests, or sometimes. It's solely. It's a non-negotiable commitment, and it's the absolute foundation of trust in this kind of relationship.
So we've walked through the challenges, we've opened up the toolkit, and we've talked about the promise. The final step is putting it all together. Because all these tools and strategies, well, they don't work by themselves. They need a person to guide them.
And at Alpha Innovation Partners, that guide is Avi Crane. As an investment advisor representative and a financial fiduciary, his entire job is to sit down with you to listen and understand your unique story, and then to carefully select the right tools from this entire toolkit to build a plan that's made just for you.
And that brings us right here. The first step on a new path is often just a simple conversation. A quick scan of this code will take you right where you need to go to get in touch or schedule a chat. So I guess the only question left is, now that you've seen what's in the toolkit, are you ready to start building?